All right, guys, it is Audrey and Vera from the Permission to Hustle podcast, and today we are going to talk a little bit about something tough.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
It is a tough
People
one.
don't like to talk about this.
They don't like to talk about this. It's asking yourself the tough questions, the hard questions, and really holding yourself accountable to these things. So by the end of this podcast, we're going to show you how to identify these hard questions, when to decide that it's ready and you're reached the point where it's time to pivot, and where to go to get that extra help.
Right, absolutely. Because I think too, as entrepreneurs, we've often said this, not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. It is one of those, here's the pain points of being an entrepreneur. Let's just get totally real right now, right? You don't know where your money's coming in from month to month. A lot of the times you don't know where your jobs are coming in from month to month. You have no true stable in terms of like a benefits or time off or sick days. I mean, I can't tell you how many sick days Vera and I have worked through, and it's just the way it is. There's really nothing that you can do about it. It's just the reality of being an entrepreneur. But it is sometimes before you jump into this world and you invest time and energy, you do have to ask yourself the hard questions.
And I think the crux of this all is, do you believe enough in your business and in yourself to take off on this entrepreneur venture? Because it's funny, if you really think about this, it's, we like, do you believe in Santa? Do you believe in magic? Do you believe that you are capable of earning enough money every month with blindfolds on? Because there is no...
You're Sandra Bullock now in the woods with 2 children trying to escape. Were those zombies? Is that what they were?
Those are the best memes that have come out in the last decade. But it's true.
We gotta make one about an entrepreneur now. This is what it's like to be an entrepreneur.
Oh, that's really smart. But it's true. I mean, you don't know where it's coming from. You don't have a clue where your next dollar is coming from. And do you have enough faith in yourself? And that you can trust in the fact that you're going to make it all work out at the end of every week. Can you pay your mortgage? Do you believe that you will be able to pay your mortgage every month? Do you have enough faith in your business mind, in your hustle, in your drive, and quite frankly, in your connections to survive in this industry? And that's a real question. And if you're wavering, then you really need to have a backup plan in hand, because it's one thing to have passion. Everybody has passion, but it's another thing to have drive. Right. And I think successful people have both.
Right. And also, too, you need a great support system. Here we are trying to identify the hard questions about really going into the world of being an entrepreneur. And, a large piece of it, too, is having the support of maybe a spouse or your family or your best friend or your children, regardless of what stage you are in your life. If you are a young kid fresh out of college and you want to go off and maybe start your own business, maybe you're going to need the support of your parents to help you pay rent and the bills and food and support you. Vera and I have husbands who are very supportive and are entrepreneurs too by nature, so they get it. But we owe each other, in terms of our spouses, a lot of props, because there's a lot of times where you really do need your husband or your wife or your best friend to pick you up when you're having those tough days. So you do want to make sure that if you're going to go into this world, and we love it, so we encourage everybody to go into the world of being an entrepreneur if you feel like you can handle it and you can do it. Because listen, I would have loved to have been a soap opera actress. Did you know that about me?
No, but I can totally see that.
Right? So I was a theater major in college. And I was the only one that said, I would love to be in soap operas. Everybody else, it was almost like it was blasphemy that I actually would have loved to have been on like Another World or something. But I did not have it in me to go to Los Angeles. I did not have it in me to, and I actually remember thinking that, like, can I go to Los Angeles not knowing anybody? Can I work and be a waitress trying to make ends meet? And to be honest with you, as driven as I am and being an entrepreneur, I knew I was not driven enough to be an actress to live that life.
Right.
So as much as it seemed, oh my God, what a great way to make a living, I did not have the drive. I asked myself the hard questions, and it was a pretty hard no.
And I think that that's responsible of you, and I think when you're honest with yourself, I think you do the best for your business.
Yeah.
Like you said to yourself, I'm not going to succeed at this.
No.
Why even start if I know I'm not going to succeed at this? And I think the most successful people know their limits. So I think successful people are willing to take the biggest risks, and then they're also willing to acknowledge and admit that their capabilities and their capacities. So I think there's great honesty and truth in that. As far as other tough questions that you need to ask yourself, am I good at what I'm trying to do? So if you're really trying to succeed in, for example, Audrey and I all day, in fact, we've been talking a lot about video, about YouTube, about new channel opportunities. And if you're somebody that's trying to get into the video space, are you good on video? Do you have a presence? Are you a lump on a log when the camera turns on? Do you have the personality it takes to hold on to an audience in front of a camera? And if it's something that you really want to do, but you don't have the skills yet, then maybe you need to admit that. And I think admitting that means I need to take classes, I need to take courses, I need to work on my confidence. Sometimes it's really about confidence. Maybe when you're in your bathroom and you're singing or you're pretending that you're presenting in front of your mirror, you're incredible. But then when you're in front of an audience, you sort of shrivel up. So maybe it's a confidence thing and not necessarily a skills issue. So really look at yourself. What am I selling? And am I selling at the level that the industry is expecting of other creators, content creators? That's a real raw moment that a lot of people have to look at as well, because we had a conversation with an influencer the other day, and she said, 10 years ago, YouTube was a lot different. You would pop up a video, and as long as you had the right title in mind, it would explode because there were a lot less people promoting, performing, uploading. Nowadays, we all know, I thought YouTube put a stat out, and it was something like there's 2 billion
it's unbelievable.
It was something astronomical. I don't know if it was 2 billion viewers a day. Yeah. 2 billion viewers a day, or 2 billion.
Billion, yeah, with a B.
Yeah. But that also means that there's a heck of a lot of creators trying to capture their attention. So it's just such a larger, more crazy game these days. And you have to, if you want a piece of the pie, you have to step up to the course and really provide the 110% of yourself. It's not so easy. It's not just about uploading anymore.
And going off of exactly what Vera said, just again, those hard questions you need to ask yourself. Whether you are a digital influencer, or you have a brick and mortar store, or you're a writer, or you want to develop a product to sell online somewhere, you really have to figure out, what makes you different, like what makes you really stand out. We just had this conversation recently in one of our mastermind groups, really to kind of just sit down and figure out what does make you different. There's no two people the same. Every story is different. And it is one thing that you really should just kind of hash out before you go along with your business. What does separate me? What does make me different? What would make somebody come read what I say, or buy what I make, or invest in me as a business, or, come to my restaurant or bookshop or cafe, whatever it is that you're doing, make it different, make it stand out. And, that sometimes can be a hard thing to do, because a lot of the times you might sit down and go, well, I don't know what really makes me different. I don't know what separates me from her or him or them. And those are the hard questions you have to sit down and figure out, because that's always going to be your angle. That's always going to be what gets you in the door, is you being able to sell about whatever it is that you're selling, why they need to invest in you, whatever it is that you're doing. And that's something that Vera and I, and it changes. Vera and I have consistently sat down through the years and gone, okay, well, now we don't have babies anymore. So what does make us different in this space of mom bloggers? And, it's part of the reason why Vera and I partnered up 8 or 9 years ago, because we genuinely saw a open space. We were asking ourselves the hard question, how can we be different? And so we said, what the difference is not a lot of bloggers are partnering up together and doing things together. And for us, that was an asset, because we weren't competing with a lot of other people that were doing that. And, it really did help separate us from the pack. maybe 10 years ago. I keep saying like 8 or 9, but, we've known each other now for, honestly, almost a full decade. So it really, you have to ask yourself the tough questions. And if you can't on your own think of what makes you different, ask somebody else that you're close with, and maybe they can help you hash out some things that would make you stand out.
So let's just pretend that you've asked yourself all these questions and you've gotten some pretty negative answers. That brings us
and you're ready to take the flag and say, that's it, I'm done, I'm going back to school, I'm going to become, a 9-to-5er.
Well, that brings us to our second point of the podcast, when to decide to pivot. Mm-hmm. So you get to that state and you say, in this space that I'm trying so hard to compete in, I really don't have what it takes, and I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that there's plenty of other people that are providing this source of information, and I don't think I can do it anymore. You have to really be honest with yourself and say, okay, I have to clear myself from this lane. But you know what? I can give something to lane number 2. Mm-hmm. And it is okay to do that. So I do want to make clear, Audrey just said it. She just said it to you. We have outgrown the baby, toddler, diaper, bottle, carriage, crib scene, which kept us alive for 8-9 years of our careers. That was our bread and butter, quite frankly. Are we going to pack it in and become yoga instructors at this point? Absolutely not. We're pivoting. We have pivoted. We have, actually that's how we sort of turned into Permission to Hustle. We said, we had so many amazing years doing what we do as full-time bloggers,
right.
As sole providers for our families for all these years. Why don't we now help other women do what we have done and are still continuing to do, mind you? Now we're talking about teenage life.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about getting back to yourself, self-care, anti-aging beauty routines. There's so much to be discussed still in our space.
Right.
It's just, we're taking a new look at our own personal lives and saying, what else can we speak about now? And there's plenty. We just pivoted. We pivoted and we went in a new direction, still doing what we feel like we do best, but just talking to a new moment of a woman's life.
Right.
So you can do that too. If something isn't working, if you're really gearing in on topic A and it's just not working, it is okay to pivot. It is okay to try something new. Do not feel like it is failing. Do not feel like you should just cancel out this whole entire adventure and just go and do something else. Stick to this world, but try a different message.
Right, absolutely. I think it's really important to make sure you do. Absolutely. And so honestly, what we love to do in Permission to Hustle and why we created our mastermind group is we wanted to create, like Vera said, that space for people to be able to come and hopefully be inspired and motivated and feel honestly part of what everybody needs to feel sometimes, that you're not alone, that you have other people. Vera and I are very lucky. We have each other we can bounce things off of, but we are very aware that not every person has that. We feel very isolated sometimes. You don't want to be able to sometimes share exactly how you're feeling because you don't want anybody to think that you're failing. So we created Permission Hustle really for that space. We saw that there was something missing in our world and we wanted to fulfill that. We wanted to be that motivating, uplifting space that not only hopefully did that, but shared also business information too and trends and topics, and people could come and ask questions from, anything and everything. I think we've had anything and everything in there. And we ask questions too. Like we've never ever said that we know more than anybody else when it comes to certain things. And I feel like that's one thing that's important is that, you do feel you have a space where you can come feel heard. And if you're afraid to ask something, then you can come and listen. So we encourage you guys, the third question, where can you go? Where can you find people that are like you? And we encourage you to come over to our Permission to Hustle Facebook page. We also have now a mastermind where we have women together that are, just every day, just diving deep into questions and asking tips and not asking tips, but talking about tips and advice that really we all feel at the end of the day can just help grow our businesses. Whether you have a small business, a medium-sized business, a large business, a lot of us are solopreneurs, so it does help to have, those people that are in your same boat. But we really love to have everybody there because it's just something for Vera and I to feel, you feel anchored, you feel part of something. We don't have colleagues we can walk down the hallway and talk to, but we have each other we can hop on and ask a question in a Facebook group. And that can be very priceless for people. And so we want to encourage you as you're asking yourself all these hard questions and you're still kind of coming up iffy or not sure, I'm ready to dive right in. Well, we have a space for you to come feel included and part of something. So I hope Permission to Hustle, really fulfills that space for you guys.
And we'll have all this information in the notes below, so you can check out those links for easy access. And if you've enjoyed these Permission to Hustle podcasts, we would love a review or a comment. That would be really
ever so helpful. You said it like a nice, you said it like an airline stewardess.
Thank you.
You were very calm.
I was trying.
You've had a wonderful time flying on the Permission to Hustle airline.
We hope you enjoyed your ride with us on the Permission to Hustle Airlines. A review would be absolutely lovely. We just learned that that's sort of important in the podcast world because we just have been putting out so much content and not really looking into what we are supposed to be doing on the back end, and apparently reviews are important. So if you've been listening, we would really appreciate a review. Thank you so much. You can find us online on Instagram, Permission to Hustle, Facebook, Permission to Hustle. On Twitter, I believe we're Audrey and Vera.
Yeah, Audrey and Vera.
So we look forward to chatting with you guys, and tune in soon for another podcast.